Hello everybody, allow me first to thank the organizers of this webinar and thanks again for giving me this opportunity to talk about annexation plans of the Israeli government in Palestine. To start up with, let me give a quick brief historical background about the Palestinian loss of land since 1948 until now. Land has been forcibly taken from Palestinians since 1948, where 750,000 to 1 million Palestinians were expelled from their houses and their properties, their lands, to make a way for a Jewish state. By end of 1949, through a violent process of ethnic cleansing of Palestinians, the Jewish state had taken up 78% of Palestinian land. In the Second War in 1967, Israel took up remaining area in West Bank and Jerusalem. This means that in the last 53 years, from the Second War until now, the Israeli government has transferred between 600,000 and 750,000 Jewish settlers to the West Bank area and East Jerusalem. They live in at least 160 settlements and outposts. This will bring us talking about another phase in the conflict between Israel and Palestine, which is the Oslo Agreement, the peace agreement signed between the two parties. According to this agreement that was signed in 1994, the land has been divided into three categories: Area A and Area B and Area C. In Area B forms 17.2% of Palestinian land. Area B forms 23.8% of the Palestinian land. Why? The major part of Palestinian land was under Area C, which forms 61% and includes all natural resources and fertile soil. One part of this Area C is the Jordan Valley, which is now under the direct threat of annexation plan of the Israeli government. And to give a background about that, let's know that West Bank, the total area of West Bank equals 5,628 square kilometer, while Area C has a total of 3,574 square kilometer. The Jordan Valley alone constitutes approximately 30% of the West Bank, which is now under the threat of annexation. In Jordan Valley, there are approximately 65,000 Palestinian citizens residing in Jordan Valley. The 11,000 settlers in Jordan Valley are controlling 85% of natural resources in Jordan Valley, mainly water and land. Jordan Valley is known as the food basket for the Palestinians, and this region can be used for advanced agriculture. Now, for the annexation, Israeli government, occupation, and settlers have been taking practical steps and efforts in order to annex Area C since a while ago, since years ago. From January 2013 to September 2017, Israeli occupation army imposed 140 evictions on various Bedouin communities in the Jordan Valley. The Israeli occupation efforts to annex Area C depends on their ability to eliminate Palestinian presence in the Jordan Valley, specifically preventing any Palestinian development in that area to make that area easy hunt for annexation and confiscation. This is done through restricting access to abundant water resources in that region and preventing Palestinians from building houses for themselves and expanding and developing their towns. The Jordan Valley region is being subject to a systematic and massive ethnic cleansing through the unlawful annexation efforts imposed by the Israeli government. Now, what would be the impact of this annexation on Palestinians? This will mean theft of resources. Although the formal announcement of annexation has been postponed, practically announcement on the ground is still undergoing. Access to land have been restricted completely, and Palestinians have been prohibited from entering Area C, which caused an annual loss of $3.4 billion to the Palestinian economy. Access to water has been denied, where Palestinians have only access to 13% of their natural resources in water, while Israelis controlling 87% of their resources. Israeli settlers enjoyed access to 400 liters per person per day, while Palestinians only enjoy 73 liters per day per person, which is it's like an apartheid system imposed in Palestine. Settler violence have increased rapidly during the past year until now, where where in 2018, 262 Palestinians were killed and nearly 25,000 were injured. Over 2.5 million trees have been uprooted by Israeli forces since the Second War until now. Home demolitions also have been, it's a big suffering on this level. In 2000 and 2007, Israeli authorities rejected more than 95% of permits for housing. In 2019, 547 Palestinians lost their homes to demolition. Since 1967 until now, Israeli authorities have demolished 27,000 Palestinian homes. What does annexation means for Jordan Valley? Annexation would mean the entire control of 29% by Israeli settlers. This will also be full control of 51 residential areas, Palestinians living in Tubas and Jordan. There will be approximately 4 million cubic meters stolen for the sake of settlers, and Israeli companies from that area would benefit $3 billion annually from using the natural resources there. What would happen if occupation ends in that area for Palestinians? This will mean providing water for 326,000 dunums of agricultural land. This will increase the production by $1 billion annually for Palestinians. This will irrigate Area C lands, which could yield by 7% growth of the Palestinian national GDP. The World Bank concluded that Palestinian employment could rise by 35%. To conclude, we need to hold the Israeli government accountable and impose banning on settlers' productions from entering international banks. And this is the time for international community to stop talking but start doing. Actions is very much needed. Thanks.